Hello, Dingaland Dan. This is Short Sleeve Steve, filming you from the park across from my house. I thought I'd send you another video. This time I'm taking your cues. I'm going to film a little area known as my backyard. It's an uncivilized land, unlike the beautiful area you live. So let's get started. Across the street, it starts at the back end of my yard, which goes from the house on the corner all the way down here to this fence line down here. And that's my chestnut tree, which the power company has butchered for the lines. The power lines, they are worried about it being torn down in the winter when it's full of snow. Although we haven't had snow here in about 3 years. These little spiky bushes, I think they're called devil arrows. They grow about 3 feet tall, and the end is a cone-shaped flower that starts off red and works its way down to a bright yellow. This is the very back of my yard, looking to the far corner. The neighbors on the left-hand side, Laura, she has a bunch of chickens. Actually, she has all kinds of birds. She has some quail, cute little quails. She has some puffy-headed white ornamental chickens. And she has some black egg-laying chickens. They look like they're wearing their masks all over their flipped to their backs. And in the back corner of my yard is a beautiful apple tree. It's a unique apple tree. It has 3 kinds of apples. Since the lady that lived here took a regular apple and she grafted 2 arms onto it, each being a different kind of apple. So it has Granny Smith's, Honey Crisp, and regular Red Delicious apples. Now, I planted a bunch of different plants myself. Last fall, I planted a fig tree. It actually produced 1 fig last year. These will grow about as big as the apple tree was and should give me lots of different figs. The figs in this tree are a green type of fig. They're called Desert King figs. And these are brown figs. This one hasn't quite gotten its flowers, but they're just starting to pop out. I don't mean flowers, I do mean their buds are going to turn into leaves. I planted several blueberries. The deer keep chewing them to bits. That's why everything has little cages around it. You might have seen in my other video, I have some very friendly deer. They don't care who's here. They think everything I'm planting is for them. My neighbor has blueberries that have been around for about 5 years. So in about 5 years, these little bushes should turn into blueberry bushes the same as the size as the neighbors. This tree here is a yellow plum tree and a crabapple tree. And the tree behind me is also a yellow plum tree with a red plum growing out of the middle of it. Here's looking back across the one side of our backyard that I want to till and turn into a garden. I doubt it'll ever be as fruitful as your garden has been. Over here we have grapes growing, and I put up some wood posts, so I'm training the grapes to go the other way as well, so we'll have twice as many grapes when those vines grow out. We have lots of flowers going across here that haven't come up yet. They're mostly iris, which should come up in a few months. And Jennifer's lilac tree, which you can smell all over the yard when the breeze is blowing. Over here, the first tree is a red plum, and the tree behind it is a Bartlett pear. Very good pears. They're nice and big. When they're ripe, they're so sweet. It's like eating a piece of candy. The area here in green is all covered in blackberries, and weeds is our chicken coop. Jenny wants to clean it out, and we should have about 6 chickens. For the area that we have for our yard, they allow, I think, up to 8 chickens. No roosters. Although you may hear a rooster in the background, it's our neighbors. This tree and the other tree are hazelnuts. We get tons of hazelnuts in the fall. If we can beat back the squirrels, they like to eat them first. The plum tree that I showed you over here is an Italian plum. They get the size of a small pear, and we dry them and turn them into plum jerky. And this plum tree is a little cherry plum. They get the size of a ping pong ball. They're probably the best flavored. They're very good, very sweet, very juicy, but not real big. And this is a Bing cherry tree, and the trees behind it are cherry trees. And almost back to the chicken coop over here, I planted a pear tree, and past the chestnut tree, we're looking through a little garden area that has 3 more cherry trees. And that's a big apple tree, and that's Jenny's little reading nook. She can go up there with her little chair and sit out in some shade with hummingbirds swooping all around her head while she sits there and reads her book, away from all the turmoils of her husband and daughter. Nice little garden area. We put a path through it, and we got one bench, and we're going to put another bench in facing into the yard. We have over here were roses and rhododendrons and another plum tree that's just starting up, and that is a bay leaf tree. And yes, they're real bay leaves that you can cook with. My little wood pile so I can have fires, and the fires we have are in a little metal burn pit. The group in the middle here is blackberries. We let them grow long and tall, and they'll grow out and cover this entire garden by the end of summer, and we'll have tons and tons of blackberries on them. Our house goes from garages, more garages, more garages, kitchen. The original part of the house is just the square that was built in 1895 to 1897. And they added a little extension onto the living room on this side. This is our azalea. It's an odd reddish peach colored, but it's very beautiful. These are all our hummingbird bushes. They won't come into flower for a few more weeks, but it'll be covered in hummingbirds when it does. And you can see some people violating the regulations of the park. Our ugly trees out front. We would like to cut them down and put something smaller and more ornamental. The bush tree in front of the house, I don't know what it's called, but it's covered in flowers that are very similar to roses. There's one at the end and one by the door, and the ones around the house are rhododendrons. And of course you can see all Jenny's purple and white flowers along the underneath side of all the bushes. As we come down the side of our house, we have more rhododendrons, some baby's breath bush, some ridiculous cedar bushes, Jenny's pickup truck, rhododendrons in our mailbox. We have a dogwood tree, the other side of our kitchen, and we have these flowers. I have no idea what they are, but they're amazing in their rich color and unusual look, and it's a pretty bush. And this is what happens when you let your husband drive the pickup truck. Jenny planted some more irises over on this side, so they'll get big and they're very pretty. When they bloom, we'll show you that stuff. People practicing social distancing. This is the rear corner of our property, opposite of the apple tree. Jenny tries to keep this nice, odd grasses, beautiful purple and rhododendrons, yucca plants that grow little stalks on them and have lots of flowers, our little rock garden, Catherine's basketball net that she never uses. And we have some pitcher plants, which haven't grown up yet, but they will. They get nice and stinky and full of flies. The garages, and house. It's a lot to take care of during the Corona lockdown. I've been doing nothing but cleaning out all those garages. This is a little path. I created a nice little natural fence that I put in, and the deer keep knocking it out as they go through on their little path. I was going to plant some kind of viney herbs or honeysuckle or something to close it off. The deer would still make it through, but they keep chewing it to bits. But they still love coming into our yard and eating everything they can. So I think I've given you a nice tour of the whole yard. I don't think I missed anything. Maybe next time, pardon my hand, maybe next time I'll be able to show you stuff that's going on inside our house. But for now, good to see you. Nice to talk to you this way. Hope you enjoy this video. And I'll be checking yours out tonight when it's about our bedtime is when you start loading them in. So good to talk to you.